Michael Flint, the one you just heard speaking, is the general manager of Mövenpick Nairobi, talking about the Mövenpick Hotel and Residences. We've been talking about them since yesterday. Double O Direct will be live from the Mövenpick tomorrow from 10 a.m. Mövenpick have this wonderful Easter package, and they're saying, come and enjoy Easter with us. We'll be talking about that. But Michael, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
We call that the hot seat.
I feel pretty hot.
Really? Eh?
But you know what, Eric? You were talking about the traffic. I think it was the first time on my way here, and we had planned 45 minutes to get here, that I have seen Mombasa Road empty. And it was, wow, the expressway is already open.
And it was free.
And it was free.
Delightful moment, wasn't it?
It was.
It was
a
these
pleasure.
are the things that so it's a public holiday. We normally see that during public holidays, but not on Mombasa Road because it's a busy artery. So people would be driving out bright and early, let's say going up country for Easter, hoping to come back on Monday. But this time, not so much.
In fact, it's public holidays is when we experience a lot of traffic on this particular road. Yes.
Especially those early hours of the morning.
And then come the day after the holiday, if it's the middle of the week, again, a lot of traffic.
Right.
Yes,
right.
but this one, I think, has been assisted immensely by this, the false crisis of fuel that we have, the created crisis of fuel that we have. That is what has contributed significantly to this, because one is afraid. If I drive and utilize the little fuel that I have, is there a guarantee that I will get some more?
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct. And in contrast, just the other night, I was stuck on Parklands Road, which I thought was just an accident. And then I realized as cars were passing me, I'm going, well, I don't want to get in trouble by following them because I see there's probably police up there. And then I realized that the reason the traffic was gridlocked was because they were going into the petrol station.
Yes. Yep.
So finally, after 20 minutes of not going anywhere, I did exactly what all the matatus were doing, and I passed. And I thought, why didn't I do this before?
Why didn't you think of this earlier? So Parklands Road is where you actually branch off to get into the Mövenpick hotels.
Yeah, it's one of the entrances. It's the entrance to the to Mawa Close. So the back entrance where we have our apartments.
Yeah.
And then the front entrance is Mkungu Close.
Yeah. Tell us about the Mövenpick Hotel. You know, so we'll go into the entire hospitality sector in Kenya, the growth, the potential of this. But the Mövenpick Hotel, first of all, what's Mövenpick? I mean, what word is this derived from?
Well, Mövenpick celebrated its 4th anniversary just recently. And of course, 2 of those years are with have been with COVID. But the word Mövenpick is actually Möven seagull, and pick is a seagull picking a fish out of the lake in Switzerland, and it originated as a restaurant where it was fast, good quality food on the go. So a seagull comes in, picks a fish,
Goes.
and moves on.
Right.
And then they developed the restaurants into a hotel brand. But there are many good quality food products like ice cream, chocolate that derives from Mövenpick.
So it's a global brand.
It's a global Swiss brand that was recently acquired by Accor Hotels, which is a French brand.
Okay. So the Mövenpick Hotel and Residences in Nairobi, and it's important that we actually get to understand this. Why do we call it hotel and residences?
We call it residences as well because we have 54 apartments that are long stay residences. So we've got guests that have been in those apartments upwards of 3 years, some of them from the beginning. And you can stay in those apartments too for a month or short-term stays as well. The 54 of them, 2-bedroom and one bedroom as well.
What qualifies as short term?
Well, one night. I mean, you just pay the daily rate of what we set for the apartments.
So why go into that route? Normally, we see very many hotels, especially very many of the hotels that have been there in Kenya. So you've got a hotel, you've got restaurant and hotel rooms.
Right.
And now here we're going into proper apartment. What informed the decision to go that route?
Well, I think it's more of an international venture. So if you take a hotel group like the Ritz-Carlton, there's Ritz-Carlton hotels and Ritz-Carlton residences. Actually, during COVID, the residences, the apartments, were the ones that had the highest occupancy because we had the long stay guests. So we were enjoying occupancies of 50, 60% in COVID, whereas the hotel side was down 20% to 15% occupancy. So it was a good move to do that, and then you have a mix of different accommodations that kind of diversifies your portfolio.
So that's basically that's the thinking. Diversify the portfolio, the mix of what you're offering to your clientele, because you've noticed that this is what some people would be going for. Long-term stays or longer-term stays.
Yes, indeed. And we've got a lot of people coming into Kenya for work internationally. So we have a lot of Europeans, Americans coming into their various jobs, and they stay in our apartments because they're fully serviced. They enjoy all the benefits of being at Mövenpick, the security, the comfort, daily servicing from housekeeping. They enjoy discounts on food and beverage. All the amenities are available to them. So it's like a home away from home while they wait for their long-term home. So it's just a comfortable place that gives them an option.
You know, there are many people who've said, Michael, that we have seen a sharp growth in the hospitality sector, especially in the hotel and accommodation business in the last couple of years. New big multinational brands coming in, and more of them are still opening. The ones that were in existence expanding. And then now we've also seen the Airbnb growing, which also complements the number of accommodation spaces available. Is the market saturated yet? Or where is the demand coming from?
Well, I think the demand will come once we are completely relaxed on COVID. So the international market will start to flood back in again. We've already started to see local corporate, government, business, both in the meetings and events and in the accommodations starting to come back. But as far as saturated, I don't think so. I mean, if you take an area like Westlands, and you've got Hyatt coming up, you've got Marriott coming up, you have the old established hotels like Sankara, Mövenpick, now 4 years old. What I think is going to happen in an area like Westlands, it will become the new CBD for conferences. So along with the accommodation, if you have enough meeting space to be able to attract conferences or citywides even eventually. And, you know, you can start to build up great things like food and wine festivals and markets. As long as there's meeting space enough to complement the rooms, I think it's going to continue to thrive. And we at Mövenpick have one of the biggest complements of meeting space. We have 14 meeting rooms. The largest is our Hall of Africa, which is 1,000 square meters, and we have a total of 30,000 square feet of meeting space. Obviously, creating relationships with Sarat Center, they have a lot of meeting space too. So hotels like Sankara would be able to accommodate the guests in their rooms, and then have the conferences at Sarat Center, for example.
Yeah.
We have sister properties in Accor, so Ibis is part of our brand, our Accor brand. So we would be able to accommodate at lower rates at Ibis because it's more of a budget hotel, but be able to shuttle conference delegates over to Mövenpick to use our space. And then that way we're working together in tandem.
So when you talk about space, you've talked about the dimensions of the space, but in terms of people, how many people then can you say you can accommodate with the spaces that you have?
How many people can be in meetings, whether together or in separate meetings, at a go?
You know what? I've never been asked that question, but I can calculate pretty quickly. If you take the whole of Africa, we can accommodate reception style 900 to 1,000 people. So that's with high cocktail tables. If we do a sit down dinner, we can do 650 plus in that meeting space. Then we have a smaller meeting space, which is still pretty large, which is probably 80% of that capacity, and then peppered with conference rooms of different sizes for small U-shaped meetings or board meetings.
You see, what I was thinking of is a situation where you have some of these international conferences coming into town, or they choose Mövenpick.
Right.
And the conferences tend to have not 1,000, thousands of people coming in.
Right.
All right?
Right.
So it is with that in mind, because if they want to say headquarter the conference at your hotel, that's what I was asking. So how many people can you accommodate? Because it's understandable. There will be others who will go elsewhere.
Right.
There's no one hotel that can accommodate all conference participants. None.
Correct.
The world over.
It would have to be shared.
Yes.
And it would have to be coordinated.
Yes.
So that's why I mentioned a place like Sarit Center that probably has the equivalent square footage that we have. And then with the new Marriott coming up and the other hotels, they are now being built for purpose, which means that you have to have a ratio of meeting space to the rooms product. We have we've had the Pullman label, for example, on a building for years.
Yep.
And that building is 300 rooms, but their meeting space would need to partner with us in order to get a full conference in that space, because they just don't have it.
Would you say, for instance, now that you've been in Kenya, let me backtrack a bit. How many other Mövenpick hotels and residences do you have in the region?
So we have one Mövenpick, but Fairmont is also part of Accor, and the Norfolk has just recently reopened after being closed because of COVID. Mount Kenya Safari Club is also a Fairmont brand, and we're going to be opening that at the end of May, June. And then, of course, we have the Fairmont Mara, which was opened a few months ago, and that's going.
Now to my question. The conferencing is a business on its own.
Yes.
Would you say that Kenya, from the time that you've been here, that Kenya has a fair market share of the conferencing business in this region as in East and Central Africa? And what is it that you feel that the business that you are in this country have done to ensure that they attract, hopefully, the lion's share of that business?
Well, I can tell you that I have, not so recently, but 6 years ago, I visited Kigali, and I think the Marriott was just about to open there, and that was the main conference center. So, because of mainly the safety factor, I think international companies feeling safe, and I think for the most part in Nairobi, internationals do feel safe. And the hotels have invested a lot of their time and effort in ensuring safety, health and hygiene, of course, through COVID, but the safety factor, and that's what attracts. And if we continue to focus on that and make Nairobi a safe conference environment with all of the support from the police and security services, then I think that's the way that we can ensure that Kenya continues to be the number one spot in East Africa, at least.
Is there competition coming from other parts, like you say? Is Kigali providing some proper competition to Kenya on that, to Nairobi?
I think it is. I think apart from Kigali, Uganda or Tanzania is not at the same level of Nairobi because of the development that we have here. Also in places like Westlands and Upper Hill, the Radisson Blu is going to be opening up again at the end of May as well, which is good because again that's more rooms and a lot more meeting space, so that we can attract these citywides in the near future.
One of the things that one sees, are we going to break or?
Not yet.
Not yet. When one visits these recreational and cultural centers such as yours, that's my term for hotel.
Have you been to Mövenpick recently?
Let's start with have I heard of Mövenpick?
Okay.
It's
It's hidden between two closes.
I'd heard of it,
Right.
but it isn't something that has featured in my mind.
Right.
So I wouldn't say I know of Mövenpick. And this is why I'm asking these questions, because I want to know more.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
One often sees when you're at the reception framed awards that the hotels have won for this or the other, or for this or the other. And if you go to travel advisory, they will also tell you about this and the other. Now, the this and the other is what I want to ask about.
Okay.
Yes. What awards or what is it that Mövenpick is known for, and what has been recognized by the industry as being things that Mövenpick are leaders in?
All right. So I came back to your lovely country a year and a half ago, and I was here before 2012 to 2015 as general manager of the Tribe Hotel, and I came back a year and a half ago, October 2020, right in the middle of COVID, right? So as far as being able to continue with the momentum of exposure marketing of Mövenpick, it got stalled right in its tracks. So when I got here, it was, all right, so what are we going to do? We can feel sorry for ourselves, and that will eventually mean that the hotel may close, right? We've been through a big redundancy because of COVID. So I said, so what are we going to do? We need to put Mövenpick, and I assured our employees that we call heartists. So they do their jobs with heart, hospitality, instead of just service. So hospitality, the difference between service and hospitality is it comes from the heart. I told our heartists, I said, you know what? We are going to work together, and we are going to be the best hotel in Nairobi in 1 year. And we're getting there. We're not quite the best, but we're getting there. And an indicator is that we are number 6 on TripAdvisor right now. Okay. And
in what category?
Well, in hotels.
Okay.
And it's mainly because we started to inject some soul into the hotel. So, for example, the revolving rooftop restaurant called The View, which you can see for miles. Any artery that you're coming in from the country into Nairobi, you see this thing.
Looks like the air traffic control tower. At the
Exactly. But the thing is that nobody knew that was part of Mövenpick. They thought it was an air traffic control or a helicopter pad or a George Jetson space movie, or I don't know what people thought. But we quickly took what we were in control of. I've got a magnificent chef, Chef Aris, who's from Greece, but he's been here with Fairmont, with Mount Kenya before, and a very talented young man. And we transformed the View, which was opened as a Swiss fondue restaurant, which, was okay, probably not my choice. And we changed that into this incredible Mediterranean restaurant right now. And that is slowly, actually quickly becoming one of the top restaurants in Nairobi. It is filled to capacity now. You have to make a reservation. You can't just show up. The food is magnificent. I'd had nothing to do with the view. The view was still there, and we still revolve.
Yeah.
But the experience that you have there. So that started to attract people. Then I discovered spaces that had been closed, and actually closed for a long time. So I developed a cigar bar. On again, up you got magnificent views of Nairobi. You can smoke a cigar with the eagles that are flying around you.
Nice.
We've created a very plush and comfortable space for ladies and gentlemen.
Tell us a little bit more about these spaces. The Cigar Space, interesting. What else have you created?
So we have a duplex space with a pool table and gaming up top. Not that kind of gaming, but pool tables and ping pong tables and things like that. But it's a duplex space that reminds me of the international brand, the Soho House, which is a members club. So it's also like a Swiss chalet or a big bachelor pad, and it's so comfortable and so different to regular meeting space that we do meetings. We have people come in, tinker on their laptops during the day, order coffee and lunch with us. There's a little private space in that space too, where you can hold small meetings, but in a comfortable environment with sofas and lounge chairs and high tables. It looks like a club. And then it has a bar at one end. So we do events like Kizomba 2 Saturdays a month.
What on earth is Kizomba?
Kizomba is a mix of African dance and salsa, with a little bit of merengue. So it's a fusion of Latin and African dance, but more based on the Latin. So if you've ever seen salsa, I mean the guys and girls that move and shake up there on a Saturday, it's quite a
So you
it's
host
quite a
it
show.
2 Saturdays a month.
Yeah, 2 Saturdays a month, and it's
all open.
ongoing.
It's all open to the public.
It's open to the public. Yeah.
Nothing like membership like Soho's.
No membership.
Right. Brilliant things. Let's take a break and then we continue talking about this. We're talking about the Mövenpick Hotel and Residences in Westlands, Nairobi. The general manager, Michael Flint, is with us in the studio this morning because Mövenpick is actually telling you, you got plans for Easter? With a plan for Easter. And he'll tell us what we need, what basically is on offer. He told us about the brilliant chef Aris, and what he's prepared with his culinary team, what they have on offer, the swimming pool. He tell us about the revolving restaurant. He tell us about all these spaces. If you go to Mövenpick, get to experience this, and there are several discounts. If you actually sign up and you use the code name SPICE, then you get some discount as well. So how do you sign up? hotel.nairobi@movenpick.com. Reserve your spot today. Use the code SPICE. Get 10% off the brunch. See, we said when Michael is here, we are going to ask him what else he's going to do. We're going to ask him that.
Because Michael is here.
27 minutes to 10. Keep it here for more.
This is The Situation Room.
Michael Flint, the general manager of Mövenpick Hotel and Residences in Nairobi. We are talking about what they have for us over Easter. You've told us about the kind of facility and the amenities that you have at Mövenpick. The, what you see as the hospitality sector and the industry and the development and the potential that it has in Nairobi, especially if you look at the Westlands area, if you look at Upper Hill and other parts. Let's first talk about this Easter. Okay. And what you, Chef Aris, and the others are doing at Mövenpick for Easter.
So we're putting on a magnificent brunch, Easter brunch on Sunday, and it is designed and it will cater to families. So we've got a lot of exciting kids programs, treasure hunts, Easter bunny, egg hunts, and all the treats for the kids. And of course, they can all swim in our Olympic-sized pool, because it actually is 50 meters long to do the laps, but not shaped like an Olympic pool. It's very curvy. So mom and dad can come in, relax, knowing that their kids are well looked after, supervised, of course, with all these great activities. The food, I don't really even need to speak for it. We have a weekly Sunday brunch, and those of you that have been into Mövenpick for brunch know the buffets are fantastic, and that's again because of Chef Harris and his culinary team. So we have, as Art said, that if you book with the code #SPICE, you will get a discount off of
10%.
Of 10% off of your Easter brunch. We also have a great stayover package, where if you stay in one of our spacious rooms, which includes brunch the next day, for single occupancy, it's $140, or the equivalent Kenyan shillings, and for double occupancy, it's $160. What I would like to offer everyone is a chance to win a stay at a future date in one of our spacious rooms, and based on availability, I will upgrade that lucky couple to a suite, and it will also include a dinner for two in the View restaurant. So if you stay with us over on Saturday into Sunday, we will randomly pick out of those that stay with us this lovely prize.
So a stay at a future date at the Mövenpick, upgradable to a suite, subject to availability, of course, like you've said, and dinner for two.
And dinner for two in the View restaurant.
Oh, nice.
You know, it's really delightful. Now, if you happen to be an ancient croc like myself, and you have more than one wife, and something like 5 children, what deal do you have for us?
Well, we can talk about that off air. But I guess you'll have to choose your favorite wife.
They're both favorites.
You see, City, I think the more the wives, the higher the chance of winning. Michael is going to look at who's staying at the Mövenpick over the weekend and select from one of the occupants a winner. Okay. Now, if you are 5, surely that is 5 chances.
5 chances, right?
Okay.
Right.
That can
So
be
bring
tricky.
all the wives.
Right. What about, is that the only chance, or is there a chance also of bringing my large family and a few of my chosen relatives to perhaps a lunch, something that I can also win, apart from just staying? Something which would be the equivalent in terms
So
of
if
cost.
you just come for brunch
Yes.
without staying over.
Yes. So something that is an alternative to staying, because that would prove tricky.
Yeah, because brunch is actually a signature. One of your signatures, like you're saying, every Sunday is it's getting to become a well-known. You know, one of the things that you want to do is go for the Mövenpick brunch on Sundays. So even if somebody is not coming to stay over for Easter, they can still come over just for the brunch.
Okay.
Right.
So you've inspired me, CT. I'm going to say that I'm going to offer something else right now, live on the air. Okay.
Thank you.
and I usually do this for a family of 4, but because you've got 5 wives, the lucky number today is 5. Okay. I'm going to say that we're going to again randomly pick of those that come just for the brunch. I'm going to pick at a future brunch a brunch package for 5, a family of 5. How's that?
Sounds very good.
Okay.
Sounds excellent.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Future brunch for 5. Just going for this particular Easter brunch.
Yes.
It's a good thing. What is it that's a signature of the Mövenpick brunch? I mean, there are others who will talk about, maybe limitless Prosecco. Others will say we've got, the best this and the other. What would you say that Chef Aris can stand up in there and say, if you come to the Mövenpick brunch, you will get this that you don't get elsewhere?
Well, let me just start with the beverage. So our bottomless gin cocktails are part of the alcoholic brunch. You can also opt to just have the non-alcoholic brunch, of course, as well. But apart from gin, I mean, if you want to have a Tusker draft or a glass of Prosecco for this Easter, it's not just limited to gin. But chef's food, he's from Greece, as I said. So we've got an incredible Greek corner, which is one of the highlights. Abundant seafood. We've got an omelet and egg station, eggs cooked to order, which is part of brunch, of course. A live pasta station, crepes for dessert with ice cream and chocolate sauce and all the other toppings. A magnificent, our chef, pastry chef Abdul, is responsible on a weekly basis of creating this magnificent dessert station. We've got food for vegetarians. We've got Indian dishes. It's just a magnificent array of splendid food.
Brunch has become one of those things that has, quickly caught on in the hotels in Kenya. Sunday brunch is becoming like, one of those things that you must do, have Sunday brunch. So it's like a culture that is catching up. If you look at the growth of brunch, look at then the other meals, so dinner, do we have a culture of eating out as families, like, just find a family coming for dinner and then going home? Do we have a culture of people coming for breakfast in hotels and going? Is that, what would you say about that?
Well, let me start with breakfast. Usually breakfast is included in your room rate.
Yep.
So we have, a very abundant breakfast buffet as well that's included in your room. We are just about to change the concept and menus at our all-day dining restaurant called Baluba, and that will be effective in May, but it's going to cater a lot to what people want. So again, we're moving away from the old Swiss signature dishes that we still have some on the menu into a menu that is very diverse. We'll have a complete burger section. We're going to do a lot of East African, Kenyan dishes available. We'll continue with some of the Indian Kenyan dishes. And then just, comfort food that people want to come in and enjoy.
Brunch, what time does the brunch start?
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
Yeah.
So why is it not called lunch?
No, just hold it. And when does it end?
It goes until 4, but if we're filled to capacity, we'll extend it. So 12 to 4 on a weekly basis.
Okay. So exactly, when you say brunch, so that word is supposed to mean it's supposed to signify a combo.
Right. Breakfast and lunch.
Yes. Now breakfast at 12, Michael.
Good point. Good point. Our hotel guests, we're ready. We're ready at 11.
Okay.
We're ready at 11. So our hotel guests, can just come down the elevator, and we're ready for them.
You'll be right there.
Yeah.
What I was asking actually in the previous question was, this is something, it is a concept that wasn't so big in the country a couple of years ago. You know, having this entire combination of breakfast and lunch, and it used to be we serve breakfast until 9:30, and then it's a Sunday.
Meaning sleep at your own peril.
Yes, it's a Sunday. You're telling someone to get up early, and you're like thinking, come on. And it started off into brunch, so you can combine breakfast into lunch, and then people coming in, so you wake up at home, chill, come, have lunch, have a nice afternoon out. It's picked on. In all the hotels, in many hotels, let me not say all the hotels. Now, the other thing that we haven't really been noticing is a culture, especially among Kenyans, of just sitting at home and deciding, guys, all of us, let's go to Mövenpick for dinner, or let's get out, let's go to a certain hotel for dinner. We see these with particularly Asian communities, but Kenyan community, you don't see this. Is there a change that you've noticed? I mean, you've been in the hospitality industry in Kenya for a number of years. Is there a change that you've seen? Is there an opportunity that can be tapped?
Yes. I mean, brunch internationally is one of the events that families look forward to. And once you find a place that is enjoyable and your expectations in your experience are met, you end up becoming a frequent guest, a repeat guest, because you feel comfortable there. The staff get to know you, and you enjoy the quality of the food. When I was here before in 2012 to 2015, we created a brunch experience at the tribe, and that grew and became quite a famous brunch. And I've been doing that my whole career. But we at Mövenpick, in the time of COVID, took the bull by the horns, and we wanted people to be able to come and relax in an environment, because they were going through hardships with COVID. Some of them, had lost their jobs, the curfews, the restrictions, everything was gloomy. So we wanted to open up Sunday brunch on a weekly basis, even though we weren't flourishing at the time, and just maybe breaking even, just to offer the community a chance to be able to relax and just blow off some steam, have the gin cocktails, go for a swim, relax, let the kids be looked after, and just decompress. And that's how our brunch was reborn.
There's something I witnessed and experienced in certain hotels in this country a while back, long before COVID. For lack of a better way of describing, let me call it a membership. It's something you paid on a yearly basis, but it afforded you a certain discount. When you presented yourself, even if you came with a group of people, it afforded you a certain discount. And I remember it was a very decent discount. So it encouraged me to take guests or people whom I wish to entertain to those establishments because of the discount.
Right.
Yes. Does Mövenpick have such an arrangement, or have they considered having something similar?
Well, we have something globally as part of a core which transcends down to Mövenpick, and that is our all enrollment points program. So you can get points for staying in the rooms, for booking meeting space, and for eating in the outlets. So you accumulate the points, and you can earn these points and burn these points while you're staying at one of the hotels. And it's not necessarily just for rooms. You can burn these points for food and beverage, for brunch, or for dinner in the view.
I'm just sitting. There's something you wanted to ask Michael before we conclude the conversation today, and this is his journey into.
Actually, off air, he's actually mentioned how it is.
There we go.
Parents who traveled the globe because of the work. Okay, an interesting heritage. I mean, listeners will assume Michael is American, and he isn't.
How did you end up here, Michael?
All right, I'll tell you a quick story. I was working in London at another hotel group, and I came to visit a very good friend that I'd worked with in the U.S. before. He's Kenyan, and he decided to bring his family over to Kenya to show them how he grew up and what Kenya was all about. But his wife said that you can only do that if we're here for 2 years. It ended up being 3,
Right.
but she drug him back to New York, and he called me and he says, Mike, before I go back to New York, come and visit me. You've never been to Africa. Come and see what Kenya is about. You'll never get an opportunity like this again. So I said, of course. So I brought the family down for a 2-week vacation to see this friend of mine. And he basically convinced me to take over from him as GM of the Tribe Hotel. So I went back to London, packed my bags, quit my job, brought the family down, and that's how the journey started.
Were you a hotelier in before you came here?
Yes, no, I've been in the hotel business since the late '80s. I started my career with Ritz-Carlton Hotels in New York.
The thing that I found interesting was your career as an actor.
Short-lived.
But a career nonetheless.
A career nonetheless. Yeah, I had a few bits and pieces. But I think the nadir of my career was that I ended up dubbing Chinese karate films in Hong Kong. And I woke up one day and I said, you know what? I could do this. I mean, it was decent money as a young man. I could do this for the next 20 years. And then I looked over at a guy that was 25 years older than me. And I said, no way. So,
There was a popular, I used to watch karate movies, but there was one popular statement that one heard very often in karate movies: "You killed my teacher."
Yes.
So that was Michael.
but you know what? The outfit that I dubbed for was lip synced, so you would never have any of this, right? You killed my teacher.
Yeah, and then the lips keep moving.
Michael Flint, thank you very much for joining us. Tomorrow, 00 Direct will be live from the Mövenpick in Nairobi. And also, they're telling you, come to Mövenpick this Easter. Whatever you're doing, they've got some great offers. Book on the platform and you get some 10% discount if you just use the code SPICE. You get some 10% discount. And if you go there and you stay at the Mövenpick this weekend, you stand a chance, courtesy of Michael, of winning a future stay at Mövenpick, dinner for 2, and this is also upgradable to a suite. If you go for brunch, you stand a chance of winning a future brunch for 5. Thank you, Michael.
My pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Asante.